Welcome to Still Plays Galaxy Viewers. We are back with a roster update video, and we are actually back a little bit earlier than we typically like to do these. I like to release these videos right before Grand Arena, and it is several days before Grand Arena as we record. Here is our general list of topics, and I've refined this to actually reflect how we more generally do these videos. So marquees and major unlocks at the top, then progress towards any major projects, and then Datacrons, Omicrons, touching on those, any gear related to any of those choices, addressing any weaknesses for Grand Arena or working towards raids, and then wrapping up with ships, pilots, or maybe some miscellaneous items. The philosophy that I've built this channel upon, the playstyle that I pride myself on as a free-to-play player, is to do more with less, going up against larger accounts with more GLs who have more relics, and doing so with fewer GLs, but by compensating with better mods, more depth. And now we are going to see some further changes, because as we are starting to get caught up on GLs, we are now transitioning from a 5 GL account to a 6 GL account. But before we drop on some gear, I do want to establish the context that we've been tracking these past few months. Where you can see this is just a heat map. You can primarily pay attention to the colors. Those are the resources I'm still paying attention to. I've reworked this a little bit since dropping a lot of gear. If you want to look at this in detail though, go to the Discord that I'll have screenshots or links placed there. But right here, you can see that with the blue and reds, those are colors that are signifying an amount of deficit on pieces that is fairly manageable. Everything else in gray is a surplus. And you can see that despite having just gone after Lord Vader, I am in pretty solid position with all my gear, that I can throw down gear on all these characters and not go into the red. And it's because of the long-term planning that I have been doing. And what we're planning for the future is Mando Bo. All the gear allotted towards her is here. The Gungans, and this already includes the relics that we are going to need for the 2 generics that haven't been released yet. We can at least anticipate that with the relic materials, even though we can't anticipate the specific gear required to get up to the relic levels. And some other random relics here, those are less important. And then this is the gear related to Mando Bo, Lord Vader, and Darth Bane. And I actually forgot to add Queen Amidala. That's something I'm going to have to add in after. But you need to do this stuff because some of these characters like Mando Bo, or if you just unlock Jedi Knight Cal Kestis, some of those characters require a pretty extreme amount of gear, and you want to prepare well in advance. I do want to note though that Queen Amidala is actually a fairly easy character to gear up to. Gear 11, Gear 12 is also easy. The relic stage requires pretty average amount of gear, so she's actually not as bad as some of the other Conquest characters like Bane and Dark Trooper Moff Gideon. Because right now we're going to take these characters up to Gear 11. I like to do my testing at Gear 11, even though getting to relics is not as difficult as it used to be, but it's still going to affect a lot of players, especially just with how expensive characters are. With Kairos, I like to showcase what can be done with them. Also, I like to do the final tiers of the Galactic Legend events with Gear 11 if I can, and Gear 12 if I have to. And it's something that I'll be releasing more videos on. Right now there's a Jedi Master Luke one, but we'll be doing more. I'm going to put all these on. The ones that I leave off are the Kyrotech ones. And one thing I think I want to test is being gradual about the amount of Zetas that I put on. We'll want them all soon enough, but I suspect I can get through some of the tiers of the event without all the Zetas. I think we'll do the leadership by default. We definitely are not going to do this one, the Galactic Legend one. This is only relevant at relics. Twisted Prophecy with just this bonus turn meter negation. That one I think we can live without for now. And this is just a way to save some Zetas for my roster, because we are just dropping so many Zetas right now. We're not going to go into a deficit, but I don't want to get too low on my numbers. I like to have a healthy amount of Zetas at all times, because you never know when a new character is going to get released where you're going to want something. Underestimated, get damage, probably, but I think I'm going to hold off. I think the basic we gotta do. And I wonder if we can get away without doing any of these specials for now. Because this is extra damage and recovery, and this other ability here is also extra damage. Now, that might be completely relevant, but it may be enough for now. I think we'll chance it, and if I lose 70 tickets, we lose 70 tickets. Now, with Bane, similar deal. We're going to take him up to Gear 11 to start. Obviously, he's better at relics, but I want to be able to show for other players what he can do at Gear Gear 11, because you can go to any other channel and see what he's going to do at Relics. Question, though, is for some of us, especially as free-to-play players, who can't always go up to Relics right away, can we get effective use at lower levels? And we'll do it for a week. Like 1 week of data will be sufficient. After that, we will take him up to Relics. But a lot of his abilities are going to be based on metrics that are going to increase it. I think we'll leave that one off. Put this one on. And definitely any basic ability that requires a Zeta, I don't even need to read this to understand that he's probably just not going to work all that effectively without it. Now, Amis we'll talk about in a moment. We're going to do the leadership because we're probably going to try and split them up in 3v3 and see if we can just use them with other Sith characters and use Sith Eternal Emperor elsewhere. And this one will drop on. And with the Omicrons, I think what we're going to do, this one you basically have to do, this is essentially a leadership ability practically. So that one we're going to place. And this one just sounds too good not to do. We are going to drop this Omicron, so we will go 2 to start. I'm going to leave off this one for now, because this one needs to be paired with Sith Eternal Emperor. And I'm going to see what we can do with him without Sith Eternal Emperor for now, and maybe just without this Ami in general. I like to avoid 3. He might be a 3 Ami character though. Project progression. Clearly we're going after Mando Bo. We will be unlocking her next time the event appears. That should be plenty of time to finish the farm on Kelleran, who we're taking up to 6 stars right now. We could take Paz and Grogu up to Relics, but I'm going to hold off for 1 more week. I want to get 1 week of 3v3 testing now that they are both at 7 stars. See if we can learn anything. I doubt it. In 5v5, I wasn't really finding any low gear usage. Paz dies too quickly. Even in Conquest, he dies a little quickly, but it's serviceable. It's just not great. Also, I think they need Mando Bo. Bo-Katan's not really a great leader. But Kelleran's an awesome character and usable at low stars. At 3 stars, Gear 11, he was great. He continues to be great. Everyone should be using Kelleran right now. I don't care how young your account is. You don't even need to take him to Gear 11. Him just being present alongside Qui-Gon is all you need. We'll glance at Datacrons. There's not too much to report here. Like, we have the Grogu crown. We have Mando Bo's crown ready for when she returns. And the new set. It's Thursday after the start of Grand Arena. I prioritize clearing sectors. I'm busy, don't always know what time I'm going to have, so I don't want feats to sneak up on me. I do Datacrons during week 2. And we will have a few prior to the start of Grand Arena, though. I will have at least 1 to 2 level 9 crons. The weekend will allow me to get those accomplished. I'm through the sectors now at this point. If you want to know which Datacrons I'm targeting and going for, I'm actually going for a number of them. I'll put at the end of my video the Conquest video I put together, and I'll mention that again at the outro. Before we wrap up, I want to address the long-term outlook for what we are working on. Now, in the short term, that is going to be Jar Jar and Mando Bo pretty clearly, but we actually have the gear allocated for these projects largely. Mando Bo, we could work towards the unlock right now with the gear that we have. We wouldn't be able to gear her up. We'd be short on Kairos, but pretty much everything else is addressed, which means we have 2 GLs left. GL Ray we could work towards, but I don't want to do that right now. And SLKR would have been an option, but tracked over on the Discord and in the guild, he did gift me one of those. Now, that's something I don't want to take advantage of right now. It's sitting unclaimed, but at some point I will have to claim it. But for now, I want to be continuing to work with certain deficits on the roster. I want to see what I can do with 6 GLs, specifically with Lord Vader, and see if we can get into Kyber 1 that way, because right now we've just been knocking on the door of Kyber 1, but every time we get close, we get knocked down and go 0-3 for a week. And maybe with Lord Vader, we can now break through that wall. But I think what we are going to work on is this list of project characters, some of the luxury options that I've put together. This is a little outdated at this point. Some of this needs to be swapped out, like Jedi Master Luke. He's done. He doesn't need to be on this page anymore. We could swap in Leia, but I want to be working on my R8s and my R9s and even R7s. You can see a number of characters like Cat is at Relic 6. Chrysanthemum would be better at Relic 8. All these kind of exclusive characters like Jedi Knight Luke or Maul, I would like to take them up to Relic 8. BT1 I want to take up to Relic 8. Those are the types of characters that I want to be strengthening on my roster. And there's a number of high quality characters. Not all of these here. Some of these are here for other reasons, but there's a number of characters I want to be taking up to relics that right now are at gear 12, like the Sith trio, or like for Fennec, like a Grief Karga or a Mando. Even though I'm not using them as a Lord Vader counter, they are valuable in case something goes wrong and I need a Lord Vader cleanup. But I may reconsider that, because now with Darth Bane, maybe I shouldn't even be thinking that way. But having them at relics would allow more flexibility within my play. And I have a number of squads on my defense right now that are missing like 1 or 2 relics, which is preventing me from being able to place Datacrons onto those defensive teams. Like when we take a look at this, now some of this is going to change, but we can see that there's a number of teams that I'm currently setting down and still working with that are without full relics. That's not the best example, but taking a look at 3v3, because that's going to be most topical. We have situations like these where I have like a Cal Kestis squad that's 1 character away. That could be Kylo Ren, it could be whoever, but I'm missing opportunities right now that I should be capitalizing on. And that is how I want to be spending the next several months. You can see with Grand Arena here, I'm less than 100. I'm 98 skill rating away from getting into Kyber 1. So once again, we are in a situation where I'm so close. And I want to get a good week or a good couple weeks and finally break through. So while we are in this period between major projects, between getting that next GL, that next capital ship, or some of these new release characters, there's a window of opportunity to start working on a lot of the different characters that I've been ignoring or that you guys may have been ignoring. And while I do that, I'm also going to be hoarding towards the next major project so I can unlock them quickly, because one of the changes we have made is with GLs. They used to be, I'll get to them when I get to them. Now it's the next GL is always an immediate unlock. Because these days, new content are gated by GLs in a way that wasn't true previously. I've talked about it in previous small talk videos before. So look out for some major changes this next 3v3 Grand Arena and the next 5v5 as well, but hopefully by then we're going to have Mando Bo to be adding to our arsenal. In the corner here, that video for Conquest that I was referring to, that'll give you a breakdown of what I'm targeting for Datacrons, but also squads, feats, data discs, everything that I was thinking prior to that game mode being active. Also, if you're working towards Jedi Knight Cal Kestis, easy event, but if you're struggling with like tier 4, there's some tips there for you. Also, even if you already have Jedi Knight Cal Kestis, open that window up in a separate tab, mute it, and just let it roll if you want to do me a solid. That always helps. It helps the video find an audience. So thank you for watching. Be excellent to each other, everybody. This is Still Plays Galaxy of Heroes.